guys, happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath.
Alright, so we have some very exciting stuff for you today. So I say let's just go ahead and get started with our mission story. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and switch over to our PowerPoint. Alright, so for our mission story, it is called Big Trip to Finland. So BILHA was 10 years old and living at a boarding school in Kenya when she got the telephone call. So this is what she looked like. The picture on the left, the one that looks kind of older, is what she looked like when the story actually happened. And the picture on the right is what she looks like now. So, where is Kenya?
Kenya is in the the bottom point of Africa. Let's get a little closer. Little closer. All right. Now let's circle it right there. That's Kenya.
So I have a big announcement, Mother said. That's a picture of her mother right there. I am moving to Finland to study nursing. Palia couldn't believe that mother would leave her without father, her sister, and her two brothers in Africa just to travel to Europe. She wasn't even sure where Finland was located on the map.
So there's Kenya circled in blue. Do you guys know where Finland is? Get a little closer. That's Finland right there. That's a long ways away on a whole nother continent.
It is. So I am going because I want you to have a better life, Mother said. I will send for you as soon as I can. Balia wept. Go later, she begged. The wait proved to be long. 5 years passed. During the time, Mother often called. She spoke about learning nursing and the Finnish language. She said she was reading the Bible for the first time, and she was convinced that the seventh day, Saturday, was the Sabbath, not the first day, Sunday. Balia was surprised. The family had always gone to church on Sunday in their hometown. Mother showed Bible verses about the Sabbath, and they saw that she was right. One day, Mother called to say that she had found a church near where she was studying. It was a Seventh-day Adventist church, and they worshipped on Saturdays, just as they had read in the Bible. Before I left Kenya, I prayed, "Take me to where people read your word and where I will grow." Mother said, My eyes have been opened in Finland." Mother was baptized. She said the church members prayed for Balia and the rest of the family to receive visas to move to Finland. Do you know what a visa is?
A visa is where you're in one country and you're wanting to go to another, and you have to get permission by that government. And the little piece of paper or card that they give you is called a visa, and it allows you to go from one country to the other.
So Balia and the rest of the family received visas to move to Finland, and the Finnish government agreed. Balia was so excited. She screamed into the phone when Mother broke the news. She had seen rich classmates go on family vacations to Dubai, but she had never left Kenya. She only thought millionaires could travel. Mother was a nurse, and father was a postman. But now she was going to live in Finland. After the excitement of the move settled, Balia discovered that life wasn't the same in Finland as it was in Kenya. First of all, the family arrived in January, and the ground was covered with white, cold snow. So first of all, these pictures right here is what the town, how would you pronounce that, Mr. Nick?
I think it's going to be Hamper?
Hamper?
I could be wrong about that, though.
So that's what the town that she's moving to actually looks like. But this story said that when she got there, it was January, so it was covered in snow. So these are not pictures of snow where she is. Those are pictures of snow actually here in Lincoln that I took. But just in case you weren't sure what snow was, even though it snowed at, 2 days ago by the time they're watching?
Yeah.
2 days ago?
On Thursday.
On Thursday it snowed. That was so fun. Okay, back to our story. Let's stop getting distracted, Mr. Nick.
I'm very distracted today.
All right. So they got there and it was cold and snow. She had never seen any snow before. In Kenya, the children politely addressed their teacher as Mr. and Mrs. In Finland, though, children call the teachers by their first name. When Balia tried to call her teacher Mrs., she replied, "Please don't call me that. It makes me feel old." A year after she arrived in Finland, father became sick, and he fell into a coma at the hospital. So that right there is a picture of what her father looks like today. Oh, I guess that kind of tells the ending. You didn't hear that. Okay, so that's just a picture of her father. And Mr. Nick, what's a coma?
A coma is where you get very sick and you basically go to sleep and you're still breathing and your heart's still beating and you're still alive, but you're basically asleep. And it can go on for as little as a few hours or a day, or it could go on for weeks or months.
And years.
And years. And it's a very scary thing to be in a coma.
So her father went into a coma, and he was in the hospital. Balia prayed the words of Jeremiah 32:27, which says, "Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me?" She prayed, "God, you are the God who said this. Restoring my father's health is not too hard for you." Father woke up, and 6 months later, he was released from the hospital. He gave his heart to Jesus and was baptized. Balia and her sisters and brothers were baptized on the same Sabbath. So the picture on the left, which is that way, that one is a picture of her dad getting baptized. And the up and down picture that's on the right is a picture of Balia getting baptized. So moving to Finland has changed Balia's life. She used to pray only when she wanted to ask for help. Now she prays all the time to thank God for his goodness. She believes that God brought her family to Finland to learn about him. So that picture right there is, I don't see her brothers in there, but it looks like that's Balia's family. So, yeah. All right, that's all for our mission story. Let's move on. All right, so for our object lesson today, I let Mr. Nick do that one by himself because it was kind of one that you didn't really need two people for.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain just anything about that?
So in my object lesson, I have 2 balloons, and one balloon represents us when we are on our own and when we're not really with God and when we're kind of not reading our Bible as much. And the other balloon represents when we're with God and when we're reading our Bible and we have good, strong faith. And we're going to see which one stands up best when a flame is put underneath it.
All right, let's go ahead and watch that.
All right. Hi, are you ready for our object lesson? Today I have 2 balloons. They say happy birthday, but that's not the part of the lesson. We have a balloon right here. It's all big and it's full of air, so it likes to try to float away. And this one is full of water. It doesn't like to float away. So our balloons here, this balloon represents us when we are full of our own love of ourselves and faith in ourselves, and we think that we can do whatever we need to do, and we don't need God, and we kind of stop reading our Bible as much, and we don't do as many devotions and stuff. And then this is us. This represents us when we're full of God's Spirit, and we're full of reading His Word, and studying the Bible, and doing our daily devotions. So this one is like us because we get real big and we think of ourselves as much more important than we really should. But when we have the fire of the world,
See that? Let's see how we hold up when we get put in the trials of the world. That went pretty loud, and it just scattered everywhere, and it popped. That's just like when we think that we're in control and we're able to do it all. As soon as trials come, we pop. Now let's look at it with this. When we're full of God's grace and full of studying our Bible and have faith in Him, we don't pop. See that? When we are full of God, it doesn't matter what we go through. It might be painful, just like fire can hurt when you get touched by it. It might be painful, and we might not go through things that are very fun, but when we're full of God and we are studying our Bible and we have good faith, then we don't need to be worried about the trials, because God will get us through His grace. Thank you.
Alright guys, so now it is time for
Our lesson.
Alright, so I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint and Nick's going to do that, and I'm going to read from our book right here. Alright.
Alright guys, so we got it all switched over to our slides. Mr. Nick, would you like to just kind of start off with the introduction, I guess?
All right. The Israelites had been disobeying God, so God let the Babylonians take them as prisoners. Daniel and his 3 friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, were taken and put into Babylonian schools. They had an officer named Ashpenaz who helped them learn the language and customs. Then came the big test. The king Nebuchadnezzar declared that all 4 boys and the other students would eat at the king's table.
No doubt, the king thought he was doing the captives a very great favor in providing them with a portion of the king's meat and of the wine of which he drank. And he was. But Daniel and his friends were troubled. They felt they couldn't eat the meat that was prepared for the king. For one thing, it was probably offered first to idols. For another, much of it, no doubt, was pig's flesh or porks, forbidden by God as one of the unclean foods. As for the wine, it was fermented and full of alcohol, so they couldn't take that anyway. What to do? Was it worth fussing about? After all, it was only food and drink. Maybe they could just take a little, and so avoid offending the king. Surely when a heathen king had gone so far in trying to be kind and generous to his captives, it would be downright rude not to take the food and drink that he gave him. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. What does defile mean, Mr. Nick?
It means make yourself dirty, make yourself not worthy, basically.
So by eating the king's meat and the wine, he was not going to be following what God wanted him to do?
Mm-hmm.
He felt that if he were to yield on this point, he would give away everything. He could never take a stand on anything else. If he was going to be loyal to God all the way, he had better start here and now. So Daniel plucked up his courage and spoke to Ashpenaz. Most respectfully, he explained why he and his 3 friends could not take the food so kindly offered to him. Would it be all right if they had something else? Now, who's Ashpenaz and why did they talk to him?
Ashpenaz was basically the king's assistant. He was in charge of making sure that they learned what they were supposed to learn.
Okay. So they didn't ask him for anything special, of course, just vegetables and cereals and good plain water to drink. Ashpenaz listened patiently. He liked this young man. Indeed, God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with him. But now he was worried. He didn't see how it could be done. I fear my lord the king, he said. If you don't eat the food he has provided and you become thinner than the rest of the boys, he'll take my head off. Daniel knew how easily this could happen, yet he felt sure all would be well. So he went to Melzar, whom Ashpenaz had put in charge of the 4, and told them what they wanted to do. Now, who is Melzar?
Melzar was Ashpenaz's assistant. He basically just controlled the food.
Okay. So just let us try eating like this for 10 days, he pleaded. Give us a pulse to eat and water to drink. Then look us over and do what seems best. He said, give us pulse to eat. What does that mean?
Pulse is basically beans that have been smashed. So it's kind of like what you'd find in a bean burrito.
Okay. So with many misgivings, Malzar agreed. Instead of the king's meat and wine, he gave them vegetables, cereals, and water, just like in this picture right here.
Mhm.
So as you can imagine how he watched them day by day, the first signs of weakness. But they didn't fall sick as Melzar had expected, nor did their faces grow thin and pale. Instead, at the end of 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. So does that basically just mean that they were healthier?
Yeah, they just look a lot more healthy than the other kids.
And it's because of what they were eating?
Because they're eating good food and drinking good water.
And what were the other people eating?
They're eating the pork and drinking the wine.
Melzar was surprised and very pleased. From now on, he gladly gave the 4 boys the food they wanted, and somehow they were able to think more clearly than the others. They remembered the lessons better. Living on a clean, simple diet, they were able to gather knowledge and wisdom faster than all the rest put together. At the end of the 3 years, they were graduated from school with the highest honors. As a special reward, they were presented to King Nebuchadnezzar. So this picture here is just a drawing of what some people think he might have looked like.
Yeah.
And the king communed with him. What does communed mean?
It means that he met with them and he ate a meal with them.
They had never expected for this to happen, certainly not on that far-off night when they arrived, all weary and discouraged at the prison. As for Nebuchadnezzar, he was very impressed, for of all the young men whom he had in training, there were none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Stood they before the king, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding, the king inquired of him, and he found from them to be 10 times better than all the musicians and astrologers that were in his realm. So that was a quote from the Bible. So what does that mean?
Well, that means those 2 jobs were just jobs that the king trusted that they would have wisdom and that they could give him good advice. But it says here that Daniel and his 3 friends were much smarter than them and had better advice.
So would you like to be 10 times better than all the boys and girls in your school? 10 times wiser? 10 times healthier? 10 times nobler? You can be. Just purpose in your heart to serve God always, whatever the cost. So we're going to switch over from the slides and we're going to talk about why did we read this random story today, right? Because I know it's kind of out of order from where we've been reading, right? Definitely from class.
Yeah.
So we're going to switch over from the slides and then it'll just be me and Mr. Nick. So hold on 1 second while we switch, okay?
Alright, now that we are all switched over, why did we read that story, Mr. Nick?
We read that story because that story talks about how we can eat healthy and promote our bodies to be healthier and closer to God.
So as Adventists, definitely, we follow the health code, and that tells us what we can and cannot eat. And just like in that story, it was talking about how they were drinking wine and how they were eating pig, which is an unclean meat. And I mean, now we don't really present our food to idols. A lot of people don't do that. There are probably...
In other countries, I think they do,
but here in America...
it's very rare to see.
Yeah. So basically, the reason why we read that story today is to show you guys how when you eat the right foods, you're healthier, and it shows.
And you're smarter too. When you eat the right foods, your mind is clearer and you don't get as distracted easily, and you do better on your schoolwork.
So definitely going on where we are right now. I know most of us aren't going to school right now, or a lot of places are closed, and it's because a lot of people are getting sick right now. So we read the story today because we just want to remind you guys that doing something as little as eating the right foods and listening to what God wants you to do will help you and keep you from getting sick. And even if you do end up getting sick, or someone that you do love ends up getting sick, eating the right foods can really help out. Do you want to add anything else, Mr. Nick?
I think that we got all the good ideas. It's very important to stay healthy during this time in the world, so we just wanted to give you guys a reminder of what foods you should try to be eating and why they're good for you.
All right. Okay, so for our craft, I'm just going to show a video of me drawing different types of fruits to show you guys how to do that. And if you want to draw on a white piece of paper and color it, that's super fun. And you can draw different fruits on the same paper. Or if you have construction paper and you want to, you can just draw them and then cut them out. You can do whatever you want, but basically what I have for you is just showing you how to draw different fruits. And why am I drawing fruit, Mr. Nick?
Because that was one of the things that Daniel ate and his friends ate when they were in Babylon.
All right.
So our craft, like I just said, I guess, is going to be, I'm just going to draw on here. So what should I draw first, Mr. Nick?
An apple, please.
A red or a green?
Green, please.
All right. So the way that I like to draw my apples is I like to start out with a circle. The apples have a little spot right there if I go down just a teeny tiny bit. And why did I leave that spot, you're wondering? That's kind of weird. Well, first of all, it keeps my apple from looking like a bouncy ball. And second of all, it leaves room for my stem. So I'm sure you guys don't want to spend all day just watching me color, so I'll just kind of scribble in there a little bit. I always make my apple stems a little bit brown, and then I go like that. And I always have it a teeny tiny bit curved. That way it looks like an apple. All right, what should I draw next, Mr. Nick?
I think you should draw a banana.
A banana. I love bananas. The bananas are yellow, and what I do is I do a backward C, and then I just do it right on again, just like that. And I will color it. And I know you guys don't want to watch me color because you want to color your own, or you want to cut out your own. You want to do whatever it is you want to do. Now, sometimes bananas have a little bit of brown on the bottom, so I can draw a little bit like that. And there is my banana. Some bananas have a little stem like that sometimes too.
I think so.
There we go. All right. What should I do next?
Do you want to draw a thing of grapes?
Thing of grapes. All right. So grapes are a little bit harder to draw. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not the best. So grapes normally come in bunches like that because I always pick up like 15, what's it called? Stems. I'm going to draw purple grapes because I prefer green grapes. But
Yeah, you have a good example.
then that would be way too much green on one page, wouldn't it? So I drew a bunch of brown lines to look like the, ooh, that's an eraser. To look like the stems for the grapes. And then all these purple dots are my grapes. All right, so we're drawing a lot of fruits right here. But I don't see that many vegetables or any.
What if you do a gourd?
What is a gourd?
A gourd is a vegetable. If anyone has seen vegetarian, there is really gourd and green gourd. If you you want to draw one of them?
Okay, so a gourd's that one that looks kind of like a pear, isn't it?
It's like a big pear.
Okay, so I start like that, and then I just make it a little bit bigger like that.
I think so.
All right.
That looks like.
All right. Now you guys don't want to see me color.
I don't even know if I've ever eaten a gourd.
I don't think I have. If any of you guys have had a gourd before, you should tell me so I know if they're good or not. And if they're good, then I'll try.
I don't think I'm brave enough. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hey, God, that looks just like the gourd from Bethlehem. Jimmy Gourd.
Well, not without eyeballs. And a mouth.
Oh, that looks just like Jimmy Gourd.
Now, the first, one of the first lines of VeggieTales goes broccoli and then celery. So I'm going to draw ahead of broccoli. So broccoli looks just like a tree, basically. And that's why when I eat broccoli, I pretend that I am a giant eating a tree.
I always did that too.
Alright, so there's my broccoli. And if you decide you want to draw a broccoli, just don't worry if you can't cut on the edges, because when I make broccoli, I'm kind of just going scribbles like that, right? So, I changed colors. But, so if you can't cut it out exactly, that is completely okay. Alright, let's do one more.
What is your favorite vegetable?
Broccoli.
Second favorite?
Carrots. Is that a vegetable?
Yeah, carrots.
Yeah, carrots are a vegetable. Alright, so carrots are orange. And it looks like I don't have an orange. Oh, that's an orange, isn't it? Okay, so a carrot. Really easy because we just draw a triangle. And what, does it not look like a carrot?
No, I was looking at my Jimmy Gourd.
And some people draw carrots like this, don't they? That almost looks like candy corn for pizza. Well, we know it's a carrot, and that's all that matters. So why are we drawing fruit? Very great. So if you guys want to do this on construction paper and use different colors and cut it out, that's great. If you just want to draw like I did, that's awesome too. All right, the end for the craft.
So our nature nugget today is something that everyone sees. Usually, unless you're inside, then you might miss it. But it's something that everyone sees. And it's something you don't really think about, but it's a beautiful way that God likes to start and end our day. Can anyone guess what that is?
I think I know what it is.
All right, what is it?
I think it's a sunset.
Ah, you got it. Is that because you were filming it with me?
Maybe.
All right, so let's just show some videos of the sunsets. The sunset is not only a beautiful way to start and end the day, but it's something that symbolizes the beginning and end of Sabbath, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, technically, the sunset. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't thinking. Okay, so, so on Friday night, when the sun sets, that represents the beginning of Sabbath. And Sabbath is our day that we dedicate to God, and it's when we go to church.
We don't do any of our work, and we get a whole day off, and we're just supposed to rest and take a break.
Exactly. And when the sun sets on Saturday night, so that's after the day's gone on, that means that Sabbath's over. And that's when we start to get our distractions back, and We have to go to school and do our homework.
Yeah.
I don't like that part.
No, that's kind of the worst part.
Well, what else about sunsets do we want to say?
Well, I think our mission story mentioned how the main character, I don't remember her name, but her mom found when she read the Bible that the Sabbath is on the seventh day, Saturday.
Exactly. So that's something that we found right there in the Bible, isn't it?
Yeah.
And do you guys remember we just said it? When does the Sabbath start?
At the when the sun sets on Friday night.
And when's it over?
When the sun sets on Saturday night.
So that means that Sabbath is a full 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of hours.
Mm-hmm. And God wants to spend each and every one of them with us.
Mm-hmm. So I think our video should be just about over.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really love the sunset, so I took a lot of videos. I hope you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
Alright. And I think it's time to move on to the next thing.
I think so.
Which I actually don't think there is a next thing, is there?
No, there might not be.
Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful week.
Mm-hmm.
And we miss you guys so very much.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Sabbath is the seventh day. God wants you to eat healthy foods.
Mm-hmm.
And God will always take care of you, right?
Yeah.
Alright, we miss you guys so very much. And we will see you soon, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have your parents there, should I ask for them to email me?
I think so.
Okay. So if your parents are there, and if they're not, you can tell them. But we want to know what supplies you guys have so that we can maybe do some crafts and have different things that we can do, like that you guys can print off if you have a printer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of boring stuff for your parents to figure out with us. So if they could email me, that would be awesome. And my email for you guys to tell your parents is Erica, E-R-I-C-A, Leigh, L-E-I-G-H, 0123 @gmail.com. And if they shoot me an email, then I will send them just a few little questions so that we can get you guys some fun crafts, hopefully, because it's kind of hard to think of some things for you guys when, you know, we don't really get to see you and yeah. So we hope you guys have a great week and we miss you so much.
All right. Do you want to close with prayer?
Yes.
I'm going to say a little prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you that we were able to meet today through the online, and please help us to have a good week and to stay healthy. We love you. Amen.
Amen.
Bye.
Bye.